Good evening. Welcome to the January 13th, 2025 Troy City Council meeting. Please rise for our invocation and remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. Father in heaven, we give you thanks for this day and thanks for the blessings you've given each and every one of us. We ask that you continue to bless us through this evening's City Council meeting, helping us here at the table make wise and good decisions on behalf of the city. Help the residents of the city of Troy be safe and secure and warm. Please be with our first responders throughout the city who are working extra hard to make sure we all stay a safe city and each of us feels that safety. Please, Lord, also be with the victims out in Southern California of the devastating fires, recognizing that many are feeling hopeless and without an understanding of what will come next, and also that many are still in danger. And of course, continue to be with all of those who have suffered from any natural disaster throughout our country and generally suffered in general. Lord, we ask that you bless us this evening here in Troy. Be with us always. In his name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will call to order the January 13th, 2025 Troy City Council meeting and ask for the roll call from Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Baker?
Here.
Councilmember Brooks?
Here.
Councilmember Chamberlain-Krenga?
Here.
Councilmember Chanda?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Here.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Here.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Here.
All present this evening. We have no certificates of recognition and special presentations, no carryover items this evening, so we move on to public hearings. We do have one this evening. E1 is a public hearing to again transfer Community Development Block Grant CDBG Program Year 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 funds to a new project at Bolin Park. That'll be introduced by Public Works Director Kurt Bogensen.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you. No, this is not deja vu. We did do this once before. So I think I mentioned in the last presentation, the city's not a direct recipient of these funds that are actually come through HUD. They go through the county. And with those, there are very specific requirements. We did have a little snafu with the last public hearing announcement. So to ensure that these funds become available with no restrictions for this project, we decided that it was in their best interest to repost the public hearing. It's not delaying the project or anything. So repost the public hearing according to HUD's guidelines and have that again tonight. But nothing has changed with the project. We're still moving forward.
Any questions? All right, I'll open the public hearing. I don't see that anybody has signed up to speak on E1, but that doesn't prohibit you. If you'd like to, now's your chance. All right, I'll close the public hearing and ask someone to move the resolution. Councilmember Chamberlain-Krenga.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move E1, public hearing to transfer Community Development Block Grant CDBG Program Year 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 funds to a new project at Bolin Park as printed in the agenda packet.
Support. Moved by Councilmember Chamberlain-Krenga, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Gunn, that we approve E1, public hearing to transfer Community Development Block Grant CDBG Program Year 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 funds to a new project at Bolin Park. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain-Krenga?
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Motion carries. That concludes public hearings this evening. Next up is public comment for items on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. I don't see that anybody has signed up, so there's no need for council or administration response. We have no postponed items this evening, so we move on to regular business. First up is I1 board and committee appointments. I do have a couple mayoral appointments this evening, so I will start with those. I'd like to move the appointment of Michael Hudson, Dave Lambert, and John Tagle to the Planning Commission for the terms expiring December 31st, 2027.
Support.
Moved by the chairs, supported by Councilmember Brooks, that we approve the reappointment of Michael Hudson, Dave Lambert, and John Tagle to the Planning Commission for the terms expiring December 31st, 2027. Any discussion? My guess is that support came because everyone fully supports those three who do a good work job on our planning commission and appreciate all the work they're doing. The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes, motion carries. Next up are city council appointments. We do have one, so I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Gunn.
Resolved that Troy City Council forwards the following nominated persons. Resolved Troy City Council appoints the following nominated persons to serve on the board and committee as indicated. Employees, Retirement System Board of Trustees, Retire Healthcare Benefits Plan and Trust of a term expiring 12/31/2027, John Foster.
Support.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Gunn, supported by Councilmember Chamberlain Craig, that we appoint John Foster to the Employees Retirement System Board of Trustees, Retiree Healthcare Benefits Plan and Trust as the council-appointed citizen for the term expiring December 31st, 2027. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Chamberlain Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Motion carries. That concludes city council appointments this evening. Next up, I2 is board and committee nominations. I do have one nomination this evening. I'd like to move the renomination of Michelle Schoen to the Board of Review for the term expiring January 31st, 2028.
Support.
Moved by the chair, supported by Councilmember Hoderick, that we approve the nomination of Michelle Schoen to the Board of Review for the term expiring January 31st, 2028. Any discussion? A vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Craig?
Yes.
Motion carries. That concludes mayor nominations this evening. I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Gunn for city council nominations.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I do have a few. Resolved that Troy City Council forwards the following nominated persons to serve on boards and committees indicated to the next regular city council meeting for action. To the Building Code Board of Appeals for the term expired 1/1/2025, Matthew DeZerman and Sandy Friesen. To the Election Commission expires on 1/31/2025, Stephen Stadler and Ray Watts. To the Liquor Advisory Committee for the term expiring on 1/31/2025, David Hott and Matthew Martin. To the Traffic Committee for the term expiring on 1/31/2025, Sharma Kenkri, Jita Swathi, and Cindy Nurk.
Support.
City Clerk Dixon, not to split hairs, but I think you read the expiring dates that are happening now. Do we need to amend the motion to put the later dates?
We have it in the agenda.
We're just doing it according
If
to
it's your
the-
comfort level, you want to reread it, but it's in the agenda correctly.
I'm fine with that. So moved by Mayor Pro Tem Gunn, supported by Councilmember Chanda, that we approve the nomination of Matthew Zerman and Sandy Friesen to the Building Code Board of Appeals for the term expiring January 1st, 2030. Stephen Sadler and Ray Watts to the Election Commission for the term expiring January 31st, 2026. David Haight and Matthew Martin to the Liquor Advisory Committee for the terms expiring January 31st, 2028. And Shama Kenkri, Cindy Nurak, and Swathi Jita to the Traffic Committee, Ms. Kenkri and Ms. Nurak for the terms expiring 1/31, sorry, now I've lost my. What is the date that expires?
So
2020.
it's going to be 2028.
2028 for those two, and then as the student representative, Swathi Jita for the term expiring 7/31/26.
It'll be 2027, sorry.
2027.
Yeah.
Any discussion? New year, huh? Yeah. The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Motion carries. That concludes city council nominations this evening. Next up is I3, request for closed session. Be it resolved that Troy City Council shall meet in closed session as permitted by MCL 15.268A and H, MCL 15.243G.
Support.
Moved by the chair, supported by Councilmember Hoderick, that we approve I3, request for closed session as read into the record and printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Motion carries. At the conclusion of this agenda, we will recess from in here and pick up in closed session where I expect that we will adjourn for the evening. Next up is I-4, a budget amendment for Transportation Alternative Program, TAP, for Troy's non-motorized pathway network, sidewalk gaps, and pedestrian crossing. That'll be introduced by Scott Finley, our city engineer.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. The item before you tonight is to advance the budget from 2026 to 2025 for the Transportation Alternative Program. In October of 23, we got approval to submit for the TAP grants, and in June of 24, we got awarded. We were anticipating a 26 or a 27 award of TAP grants. They were actually for 25. So to keep this project moving forward and on time and obligate the federal funds for construction, we're requesting that we get a budget amendment to roll the 26 funds forward to 25.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilmember Chamberlain-Craig.
Thank you, Mayor. I know this is about, we already have the money budgeted. It's about moving up to be able to, we give our match and to get the match then from our portion, get the portion from the government.
Correct.
Question is, and this is good that it's moving up in many ways, how soon might we be able to start work on this? Like when would people start seeing action on this project?
We're anticipating an August letting, so we will see some construction starting in September, October.
But that was Councilmember Hamilton's question about when's it going to be done?
Yeah, so you said it will start, it'll end in the fall or start in the fall?
It'll just start in the fall.
Okay, when do you think completion?
It'll wrap up next spring, early summer.
Okay.
But it'll start this fall.
Yep, and for those who don't know, this is to fill in the sidewalk gap. It's on both sides. Is it on both sides of Square Lake or just on one side?
North and south side of Square Lake between Rochester and John R.
Yep.
East side of Livernois from Big Beaver to Lane Drain. And it's the pedestrian crossing at J.C. Park across Long Lake.
All are things that I've heard about in my 7 years in council frequently. So it's really great that we were able to get external funding. I think 80% of it's covered by non-Troy funds. It's fantastic. I always see people walking down right next to the street on Square Lake because of the lack of sidewalks there. So are they going to have to put in like a boardwalk or something to actually build the sidewalk there? Or how is that going to work? Because it is kind of, there's like a drainage.
Going through that detailed engineering process right now with Eagles. Getting the surveys are all done, but we'll be submitting. There's probably some wetlands there, so.
Yep.
It may be boardwalks, we may be able to get a permit to fill, yet to be determined.
No, this is fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone like to move the resolution? Councilmember Hoderick?
I'll move I-4, Budget Amendment for Transportation Alternative Program, TAP, for Troy's non-motorized pathway network, sidewalk gaps, and pedestrian crossing, as printed in the agenda packet.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Hoderick, supported by Councilmember Chamberlain-Craig, that we approve I-4, Budget Amendment for Transportation Alternative Program, TAP, for Troy's non-motorized pathway network, sidewalk gaps, and pedestrian crossing as printed in the agenda packet. Any additional discussion? Councilmember Chamberlain-Craig.
Thank you, Mayor. I know I looked at you and also Councilmember Hamilton. So many of us remember, and I believe even it was Councilmember Brooks that you helped a resident. There was an incident in this area. Is it a year and a half ago, around the crossing? And immediately, I think Mayor Baker and myself, we brought up for discussion, what would it take to explore the city putting in, getting permission from the county, some sort of crosswalk? It was sensitive to me because at the time I was there twice a week. My son was playing soccer, and so we constantly saw how people were trying to cross from the south side to get to the north side of J.C. Park. And we talked about it. We had this beautiful new trail system. And the challenge that people on the south side are not able to easily get there. You have to walk all the way to John R. Rochester to properly cross. But I think what we heard was it was going to cost about $1 million, and there wasn't that flexibility in our budget for that. And so and I still remember when it was on our budget to explore the grant. I think it was in the summer, and I was just that was like the best news, or maybe it was late spring. It was like my favorite agenda item of the night. So I'm just so delighted to support this. So delighted that it's an example of finding funds out there. This is not your taxpayers' dollars, most of it. It is external funds. So great news for the health, safety, and welfare of our community.
Well put. Additional discussion? All right, the vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Motion carries. That concludes regular business this evening. Next up is the consent agenda. Would anyone like to pull an item from the consent agenda for discussion? Councilmember Hamilton.
I'd like to move all items on the consent agenda as printed in the agenda packet.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Hamilton, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Gunn, that we approve all items on the consent agenda as printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Motion carries. If you're here for an item on the consent agenda, all items have been approved. We do not have any memorandums and future council agenda items to announce this evening. There's nobody signed up for public comment for items not on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. So again, no need for response. We have no council referrals this evening. So we move on to reports. Anyone like to discuss any of the reports? There are quite a few. Councilmember Hoderick.
The department reports are always good to see, and if you have a chance, if you're watching, to pull up and take a look. I just want to call out specifically the Troy Public Library Annual Report, the nice condensed way that it continues to show us the tremendous work it does for our residents in the community and the number of people that come through. It just leaps out in a really easily quick perusal kind of way if you wanted to take a look. We have the fourth quarter litigation report, the interim financial report. Those kinds of things are sometimes tucked in here, and we don't always spend a bunch of time here in a council meeting on it. But I like to call attention to it for folks that are trying to be informed about how the government works. I see some students in the back. There's a lot of great information in there that highlights the complexities of the work we do, and sometimes the really good news of things that we do as well.
Thank you. All right. Council comments. Councilmember Brooks.
Thank you, Mayor. So Monday is a holiday in observance of Martin Luther King, and so at Troy Athens and the Troy School District will have their annual MLK Day of Service starting at 8 a.m. So I encourage everyone to come and participate. And even if you're unable to attend, just try to do something in honor of his legacy. So thank you.
Any other Councilmember Chanda?
Yeah, I also wanted to, reiterate the same thing. A lot of us will be there. I think, Mayor, maybe you're also planning to go, but I will be there, and it's nice to see our students on the MLK Day next Monday to see doing so many things in support of our community. But just to honor the legacy of Martin Luther King, it's a great day to celebrate together as a city. I also wanted to mention something that was on the agenda item today, the barrier-free park. That item was there back in November, if you remember. Don Clennon, the executive director of ARC of Oakland County, came here and gave a passionate remark. And I recall what she mentioned is, I think she mentioned like a 7-year-old child with cerebral epilepsy. But the first time took a swing in the Troy Park that accommodated him, and the joy and the smile in his face was something really special, and that made us all feel so good that we as a city are doing all this. And thanks to Director Bovenchip and your team for finding money, taking the time and taking the lead to do all that. So I'm very proud of what we are doing. It's this agenda item, but I think it's worth mentioning that we as a city are not just one of the best places to live, but we are also safe and inclusive, and this is another way to include the entire population in our city. So it's nice to see that we are doing all that, and nice to see that we are finding the money to do that. So just wanted to mention that and thank your team. So.
Additional comments? All right. I don't see anyone has signed up for public comment for items on or not on the agenda for members of the public outside of Troy. We do have a closed session, so we will recess from here and pick up in closed session in a bit.